that he know that Will Smith, Jaden, he Bryshere and he Meek Mills and you.
Jaguar Wright steals the mother of Bryshere Gray's and exposes Diddy's $10 million contract. There is absolutely no play between Jaguar Wright and Bryshere Gray's mother, particularly after Diddy managed to get around those accusations against Rico, who had just betrayed her and revealed the $10 million agreement she had made with Diddy to sell Bryshere Gray's to him for freak-offs. Bryshere Gray was tricked into believing he was being offered a mentorship program by Diddy. Jaguar Wright, however, claims that he was just utilized for his body and forced to breathe in an ungodly quantity of many years his career, and he were completely gone. To make matters worse, he was blackballed and did not receive a single penny of the $10 million his mother received from Diddy in return for their son. Currently, he is being hunched over and on top of several unprotected men. When Riker tried to share what he was going through at the time, people simply ignored him and advised him to keep making movies instead. Riker entered the possession of Diddy and Will Smith at about the same time when he exploded on the Empire. Charlie Mack, his manager at the time, introduced him to them, and his life was completely changed. Charlie first brought Bryshere and Diddy together because he wanted Diddy to help him with his music career. However, even if Will assisted him in organizing his acting career, the unfortunate child was doing everything but what he had been brought to do. Jaguar claims that following a violent freak-off session, Will's neighbors heard Wright, Bryshere Gray's, and Meek fleeing his home.
Well, they do weird things in their house, and young men have left their house screaming to get away from them in their mentorship. Meek Mills, Bryshere Gray left that house screaming. August the only one that stayed, and I guess he was really sick.
But Jaguar wasn't done leaking information about Diddy and Will. In a subsequent shocking interview, she leveled some grave charges against Bryshere Gray's mother for allegedly participating in the scheme to sell Bryshere Gray's to Diddy and Will. Charlie was initially believed to be unaware of what was happening to Bryshere. However, he was well aware that Bryshere mother Andrea had given her consent for him to give Bryshere away, so that these industry guys in return for monetary compensation. Here's the thing though, everyone. Jaguar asserts that in return for Bryshere's surrender, Andrea received $10 million. In addition to all of that money, Andrea wanted to utilize Bryshere Gray's anguish as the basis for a book she was writing. It would be a heartbreaking tale that people would want to hear from the mother's point of view if Bryshere experienced what he did.
And about Bryshere's mom, I'ma kick you in your pussy and then I'ma go to work North Philly style. And Charlie, you happy now? He's a gay star. Are you happy now, Andy? For a book that didn't sell? I hope that new husband of yours leaves you. And maybe it's time you tell your son why his father is really in jail, his biological father, for all of his life, and what you had to do with it. You see.
In addition, Jaguar disclosed that Andrea had approached her pleadingly to assist her with Bryshere. Additionally, she particularly instructed Andrea to remove Bryshere from Charlie Mack's because he was the one who introduced him to Diddy and Will. However, Andrea disregarded her advice and let Diddy and Will continue to play with her kid and force him to engage in bizarre behavior.
Do you feel this is...
That came to me and begged me for my help. I told her to get the away from Charlie. I did everything that I could do to get Bryshere, to help her get Bryshere out of California into Chicago safe, to be ready for filming. She knew she knew what Will did to him. But because of Charlie, see? And Charlie had promised her all kinds of things. And all she had to do was pretend to be a broken down single mom who worked her way up through the ghetto and raised a superstar for television, when the truth is, she wasn't nothing but a dealer's That's all she ever was. She went from dealer to dealer, and then she snitched on whoever she needed to snitch on until she could get to the bigger bag, until she got with Larry Lair, my friend who raised Bryshere in $1 million home. Your whole book is lies, Andy. And I hope anybody that bought it asks for a refund and demands it comes out of your pocket every time they see your son's gate.
As everyone is aware, Bryshere Gray is currently profiting from selling films of chicken change and photos of his poopy hole while being drilled by several men at once. Jaguar says they are supporting Bryshere's new job as a gay porn performer because they want everyone to believe he is insane so that when he files his lawsuit against Diddy and Will, no one will take him seriously since they would believe he is mentally unstable. Many victims have previously been silenced by this mental illness scam, and Bryshere Gray is regrettably one of them. Jaguar even asserted that there is a covert recording of Justin Bieber. Will, Jaden Diddy, and Bryshere Gray are going crazy.
So he'll feel too embarrassed to file his lawsuit against Diddy for what Will and Diddy did to him. With Jaden and Justin present, that tape exists.
Okay.
I really hope none of that baby oil was used on those kids. That would just be in bad taste. Baby oil on babies.
You can't say that the flavor camp was sponsored by Johnson & Johnson. You just come on, man. Come on.
Starting to sound that way, ain't it?
No.
All that talent, and she let Charlie tune that boy up on, knowing that he was bipolar and had ADHD. What kind of mother do that to her son? Turn him into a prostitute so you could pretend to be something more than what you are, which is nothing more than a filth. You're a big old than they're making your son out to be, that's for sure. Because he didn't have no choice. He was down by all. I'm sorry. The Bryshere conversation for me is not easy. Because I came to Belial and I asked Belial to help me save the kids.
In case you were wondering what lawsuit Jaguar was referring to, before Bryshere Gray started his OFA career, there was a rumor circulating a few months back that he was getting ready to sue Diddy for $50 million. And a pound line item that stated, "I suspect the soon-to-step-forward male victim of sex by this A-list mogul will not be the last man to do so." Sean Diddy Combs disclosed this information. However, shortly before this case was made public, Bryshere Gray retreated and started selling his cheeks all of a sudden after something obviously happened to cause him to reconsider. When Terrence Howard entered the conversation and appeared to affirm that Bryshere's current behavior is due to the freak-offs he had with Diddy, it further muddied the waters. In a recent interview, he claimed that some young guys were abusing their position in the industry to obtain acting contracts and mentorships, and that once they let other men sleep with them, everything changed.
No, but when you lose your man card, that's the only thing I can think of. You lose your damn man card.
What is that? What do you mean by that?
You give up your ability, your right to being a man. A man don't take it, a man gives it. So when you give up that man card, you don't get that back.
Are you saying what I think you're saying?
No, I'm saying what I'm saying. You don't get that back. You come into this world as a man one time. You give up that right for anything, for fear of being hurt, fear of somebody doing something, for wanting to gain something. When you give up that man card right, you lose some spiritual energy that has always been pushing through. Like if a woman gives up her womanly right, but when you give up your manhood, I've never seen somebody recover from it. That was all the people that went to the puffy parties. That was all the people that did all those things thinking that there was never going to be a consequence for what they were doing. got punked out and out by some over greater desire.
Bryshere is obviously dealing with a lot, but we'll just have to wait until he's ready to come out and tell us the truth. People had their opinions as usual, including this one who claimed that Orlando Brown was also affected. However, he was labeled insane by others once he started doing interviews and getting clean from drugs. There is truth to some of his statements. Among those facts was this one. The same is true with Razby from B2K. There can be a lot of sadness, darkness, and illness in this life. I simply ask the Lord to cure them and for them to learn more about him. This is awful, said another. He must sue for almost $50 million. So depressing. They not only harass these young people, but they also make them addicted. For their own ill enjoyment, they physically ruin their lives. Now, though, I'd like to hear your opinion. How do you feel about Diddy reportedly touching Bryshere? Are you certain that his mother sold him for $10 million? Please share your opinions in the space provided for comments below. Also, remember to see this other chaotic video by clicking here.